going on, beautiful people? It is Monday, November 4th. This is episode 150. This is one of the three most important things today. The second most important thing is I'm back, which is the least of the three. Definitely the least of the three. But the most important is when you hear this today is election day. So don't care who you're voting for. That's your right, your choice, even though I may judge you. But go to vote.org, get that on, make sure you know where your local polling place is, and go out there and vote. Do your patriotic duty to be a true patriot and vote. Gentlemen, I know we will all be voting, so we definitely encourage you to do that, to have a seat at the table for these conversations moving forward. But gentlemen, how the hell are you doing? You guys killed it last week. I didn't like how Harrison talked about me dropping out on this podcast. So I have a little disdain towards that. But gentlemen, how's everything been?
Okay. One thing I would vote for is the abolishment of daylight savings time.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So when you have two young kids, you just don't understand how truly bad daylight savings time is. So my son crawls into bed 2 days in a row now at 5:50 a.m. And he's not a light sleeper, so it's tough. So I really would like that to make its way onto some type of ballot in the near future where we can get rid of this. It's terrible. I'm using this as a PSA right now because of how bad it is. And I'm sure Sam can attest.
Congresswoman. I feel like this sidebar was on the House floor for a while and it's been sitting there.
It passed.
Like, can we just do something about this?
It passed one and then it failed the other. So
we need to bring this back. It's terrible. It's truly terrible. It's affecting me. It's affecting my family. We need some help.
My coworker and I had a nice conversation today about how, it just upends everything.
Everything.
Getting a nice groove. Yeah, whatever. Here we are. And it's cold as hell. So, not what you want, but here we are. It's November.
Do you guys know what it feels like to be outside at 5 a.m. when it's 27 degrees out? I'll tell you, it's cold as hell.
It's cold as hell.
Great. Not great. But that is my choice, just like it's some people's choices to be vegan. But we have a whole nother thing to talk about here, guys. We got a lot to run through. We got NFL stuff, definitely dubs, L's. Very interesting week. We saw 4 of the most incredible plays throughout this week, which is absolutely nuts. And I am honored to be a fan of football and to enjoy that for sure. We'll definitely talk about our rankings, our power rankings, our non-power rankings, how I'm catching back up to Sam, and with our picks, and how Harrison is dwindling down for the crazy ass picks that he's making, along with doing our picks this week. And also talking a little baseball because Sam twisted my arm to relive the moments that I did not want to relive. And we also got the start of college basketball. So clapping for Harrison. You're back on the board for that, bud. And also talk a little NBA basketball. So gentlemen, if you're okay with it, let's dive right into this. Dubs. I'm going to start off by being a homer because last week I couldn't be here to talk about how the Eagles beat the Bengals, as I've had to sit here and endure how the Bengals were going to beat up on the Eagles, not by you guys, but I believe Harrison picked the Bengals to win that game because he's not a true Eagles fan, so my memory jogs correct. But I've heard, and Sam and I have had some candid talks about this, and he's tried to level me and say, Brandon, it's Jalen hasn't really played great and whatnot. And Sam was doing the right thing as a friend. But Sam, I'm here to tell you that I'm not going to be humble with what I say today. In the last 4 weeks, Jalen Hurts has been the number one quarterback in the NFL. He has had 12 touchdowns, 0 turnovers, 1,001 yards to be exact, in total yards, a 73% completion percentage, and the Eagles have been 4-0 since. So,
is that good?
I think it might be. I think he might have broke the game or something like that. I know his teammate did, which we'll get to shortly.
Yeah.
But I just want to take the time to do this because I remember when people said that Jalen Hurts was good for being a running back and not a quarterback, which seems to be the thing people say about black quarterbacks when they start off anyway. But I'm glad that he's sitting here shutting people up and the Eagles are getting their catching their stride at this point in time. But he has looked so locked in outside of the fact of holding the ball too long and not throwing it away at times. But I'm very, very proud to see what he has been doing. And he has been on fire no matter who's out there, and protecting the ball is the biggest thing. So kudos to Jalen. He is my first dub of today.
Yeah, he's been playing fantastic football of late in spite of his head coach. And I'm sure that's why Sam's trying to level you a little bit because of, the coaching staff leaves a lot to be desired. But Jalen Hurts, killing it. Having A.J. Brown back, having Devontae Smith back, having all his weapons around is definitely paying dividends for him, and he's handling business. So, yeah, he's right now in the kind of MVP conversation. If they keep this up, there's really no reason why he shouldn't be at kind of that top three.
Yeah. Yeah. The two most important things you said there was he's not turning the ball over, and they're 4-0. And, you know, it's certainly been an issue with Jalen Hurts, but I'm not a Jalen Hurts hater at all. I admire his play on the field. He seems like a world-class person off the field from back in his days in Bama. Like, so yeah, this is it. Maybe the Eagles are figuring it out in spite of their coach. They have all the talent in the world. As there's a lot of teams that we talk about every week that have all the talent in the world that aren't figuring it out. But here we are. We're halfway through the season. Cowboys are in the rear view here, and just like we all wrote it up, it's the Commanders and the Eagles vying for the NFC East. But yeah, no, hell of a team, and yeah, this is the kind of football you need to play. It helps when you have like an Avenger in your backfield too, because it's incredible. He's incredible.
It sure does. But Harrison's dub, they also have essentially an Avenger in there. He's the quick Avenger. He's actually, we're going to merge two different things. He's from DC's Flash with Jameer Gibbs back there. But you have the Lions. And yeah, tell us why.
Probably the only team ahead of the Eagles right now in the NFC, altogether, which is the Lions, who've now won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. Nice win this on Sunday. We'll quote Kirk Cousins, "Walk into your trap, take over your trap" type win. So, you hear all the noise. It's raining. It's, Jared Goff and outdoors, not as good. He wasn't as good as yesterday, but he didn't need to be. And the Lions kind of walk away with a nice 24-14, never really in doubt win over the Packers. Jordan Love hasn't had the year he's wanted to have. Definitely injured and not playing to his full potential. But big divisional win for the Lions to move to 7-1 and really take control of the NFC as a whole. They are the cream of the crop right now. They're going to be tough to beat going forward, and they're obviously right there. So kudos to them.
I would say that they're the best team in football, even though the Chiefs have the better record. I would say they're the best team in football. They're the most complete team that we see, and this is saying that with them losing their star pass rusher. And which the deadline is tomorrow also, today on election day as well. So, right, Sam? It's
4 o'clock.
Right? Yeah. 4 o'clock. Yep. Yeah. So, see how I asked Sam? Sam's the number guy. I tried to tell you guys this a long time ago. Anyway, I'm to your point, Harrison, about Sirianni, which I'm going to talk about more shortly. With Dan Campbell, the guy that started off weird like Sirianni, he's only ascended from that point in time, and he continues to be a guy that this team rallies behind, and the team has taken the identity of him. It's nothing but passion. We're going to punch you in the mouth every single time. I saw a weird statistic that every team that plays the Lions, the game after, they end up losing because they put so much effort into playing the Lions and they beat them up so badly. Jared Goff. If the Rams didn't win a Super Bowl and Matthew Stafford has been playing the way that he plays, the Rams would still they would probably be my L for every week because the way that Jared Goff actually plays, and at one point it looked like he was going to be just a backup quarterback, transitioning into that, and he's turned into a star at quarterback. So I want to give him his props too.
Yeah, the team just punches you in the mouth, and great call, just taking the identity of their head coach. And you think about just like what we would call that top tier of best teams in football. Like, you don't want to go into their house and play them when everything's on the line. And Detroit, I know the game wasn't in Detroit last week or yesterday, but Detroit's not a place I want to play right now if I'm an opposing team. And despite losing Hutchinson, they're still, they're still giving offenses fits out there, and just a hell of a combination of just talent all across the board there. Kudos to Lions.
Last note, there's so many teams in this league with no identity, as we'll get to in kind of the powerless rankings. This team is not one of them. They know who they are.
Yep.
They know what their strengths are, and they are a beast. So
shout out to their GM too. I don't know his name. I'm sure Sam does. But the pieces that have been picked for this team is something that they need to have a damn 30 for 30, because it feels like every single one of them has hit at this point in time. And they just, the moves have been phenomenal. So shout out to them. And as I mentioned, one of the moves that they made was trading Matthew Stafford to Lions, Sam Stafford, oh my God, I can't even speak.
That was like that was a hodgepodge.
Oh my God. I was trying to get to Jared Goff. I was trying to get to Jared Goff somehow, some way, and it just didn't work. Dan Orlovsky, while we're going, I was trying to transition to the Rams, Sam. So you might as well just go from there and save me. Goodness.
We were hell of a overtime win for the Rams yesterday. Big division battle with the Seahawks. Harrison and I talked about it last week, about how the NFC West is just wide open, and a team with 8 or 9 wins could win this thing. Here come the Rams. They're getting healthy. I think they just won 3 in a row here. Big touchdown in overtime.
3 in a row.
Matt Stafford is just, as cool as can be here. The team's getting healthier, and they're figuring it out. And, again, just a nice combination of talent and, coaching and just players that have been there before. And yeah, here we are with them in the Cards right at the top of the division here. Certainly the Niners are getting healthier. CMC's practice window's been open, so hopefully he can get back on the field, but it'll be a fun race down the line here in the NFC West. But don't count the Rams out just yet.
Yeah, can't count them out. 4-4, right behind the Cardinals, 5-4. 49ers are 4-4, and Seahawks are 4-5. So this division is nuts.
It's wide open, and the quarterback play in this division is absolutely insane. I sent the guys a text about Geno. He was just throwing it on a rope yesterday, and then Stafford closes out the game to his receiver, who catches in one hand, and it's just like calls game, and then that's it. Puts it right on the money, rolls out to his left, and then just floats it over the top, and it just falls into the breadbasket. Well, the one hand basket, and then it just goes from there. It's amazing to see what the Rams keep doing. And mind you, they lost one of the greatest players ever over the offseason, and Aaron Donald, and these guys are still fighting and doing what they have to do. They're finally getting healthy, as you mentioned, outside of Puka punching people in the face. But, they are doing what they have to do. Another person that's doing what he has to do is a former Giant, former Penn State Nittany Lion, who Penn State actually could use him right now, is Saquon Barkley, who had a total of 199 yards, 40 yards receiving with a receiving touchdown, and 159 yards rushing with a rushing touchdown. But that's not why we're here to talk about him. I don't know what Saquon thought before the game, or what was going through his head in the moment that he said, "I'm going to juke you, spin around you, and then I'm going to hurdle over you backwards." So an additional L that I'm going to give here is Jerry Jones, because he will forever be on a highlight of getting jumped over backwards by a man in the middle of a football game running full speed. Saquon did take a shot after that, which I don't think he went out after that. But that's neither here nor there, because he came back in and just ran the ball all over the place. Saquon, sir, tell me why? What? I honestly, in all jokes aside, that is one of the most amazing plays I've ever seen in my whole entire life. Period.
I mean, it's super hard to, like, we play so many football games and we watch so many things, and to see something that you've never seen before is insane. And to backwards hurdle someone, something you can't even do in Madden. Like, you can't even do that in a video game. Like, that's not even an option. Like, it doesn't. That move isn't available on the controller.
It's gonna be a Madden. It's coming. It's definitely coming.
To break the game, in a sense, is just truly remarkable and really awesome, that you can, open your phone and stop and see something that you just never seen before. But that's the type of athlete he is, and that's the type of talent he has always been, where it's like you want to watch him, you want to see what he's doing on Saturday and then now on Sunday, because you truly never know what he's going to do because of how shifty he is, how strong he is. He's just so fun to watch, and he's one of those running backs, in the upper echelon of history where you just want to tune in and watch them. Like, and it's a throwback in a sense. Like, we used to have running backs, all the time that you'd want to tune into, like Adrian Peterson and Barry Sanders, that every week they would do something crazy. And he's one of those, which we just don't see too often anymore. So major props to him. He is phenomenal. I love Saquon. I can't believe the Giants. I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. And to now have a divisional opponent paying the dividends of how amazing this guy is just salt in the wound.
To the Giants GM, who's Joe Shane, his comment of, "We don't want a $40 million quarterback handing off to a $12 million running back." I think it's working pretty good in Philadelphia. What do you guys think?
I think it's working.
I'm just saying, like, they got a $40 million running back, a quarterback, and a $12 million running back. It's working out. I showed that highlight to my son, and he doesn't, he hasn't watched much football in his life, but like everyone, like, just being able to see it and live it through his eyes was awesome, because, like, jaw to the ground. And my first comment was, "Doesn't he look like the Green Ranger? Like, he looks like prime Green Ranger out there wearing that Kelly green too." But yeah, just a special talent, and imagine where he'd be numbers wise in his career if he was healthy and behind a competent line and offense, because he's special.
You mean not being behind a Swiss cheese line that's in MetLife? Yeah. I got some fun things just to say before we move on. He did that on the same day that they inducted Shady McCoy into the Eagles Hall of Fame. So he decided to do that on that day. They also said about Saquon that he lost a step. Well, if we go back to the game against his former team, the Giants, he was clocked at 21.93 miles per hour. So I don't think he really lost a step, and I think he's just as fast, if not faster, than he was. So again, thank you, Giants.
What's Tyreek at, like 22 miles an hour?
I don't even know.
But
I don't even know, but that's fast. So
very fast.
Shout out.
It's working out.
I'd say so. What's working out is Harrison's, I guess for right now, Harrison's faith in the cards, who he's no longer calling the cardiac cards for some reason.
Not this game. Just last couple weeks they have been the cardiac cards. But Redbirds come out with a win.
Blow the doors off cards.
Oh my God.
But another team that took took the game that was in front of them. So like Kyler yesterday only threw for 154 yards, but they fully committed to the run game and completely gashed the Bears up and down the field. Not as flashy as Saquon, but James Conner continues to get it done on the ground. He's just so powerful back there. He's breaking tackles left and right. Trey Benson is also good. And then Amari DiCardio really broke the game open, at the end of the second half when the Bears were again in prevent defense and still got a 54-yard touchdown ran on them. So that was interesting to see. But, they've won 3 in a row now. They have, let's see, who do they have next? Come here. We've got the Jets next. They've got the Jets next, then a big divisional game against the Seahawks, then the Vikings. So again, we talked about the NFC West, just a moment ago, but it's all right in front of them. Their offense is really gelling. Their defense is still suspect. I'll continue to say that every single week. But against the Bears, it was serviceable, and they got a blowout win. So shout out to the Cards.
You would think their defense wouldn't be sus, where their head coach is a defensive coordinator, but
they just don't have the talent. They just don't have the talented piece around them. Buda Baker is incredible. Watching him at what's he probably 5'9", just go out there and tackle everyone in sight is really fun.
Absolute
but
monster.
everything else around them is a little questionable. But if the offense can keep rolling and keep just game planning the right way, where you don't want to rely on Kyler all the time. Like, he does take a lot of hits, or he hasn't taken as many this year, but in the past he has. But his maturity level has risen a lot. He's not taking a lot of hits. They're running the ball, and they're just playing like a really good unit.
Harrison says that after Kyler gets sacked 3 times in this game. Sam, I have nothing to say about the Cards, so you can say that because I refuse to say anything about the Cards still. So.
Well, what I wanted to say is they're on a 3-game winning streak, and Call of Duty came out 2 weeks ago. So
that's what I'm saying.
It's a new talk about maturity. Here we are, Kyler.
It's a new Kyler.
Props, man. No, they're fun to watch. They're fun to watch, and I don't know. We make fun and about the Cards and the whole Harrison loving the Cards thing, but like, how about the Bears, man? Too, like, talk about not being able to stop anything. I saw, I forgot to write it down, but like some stat where like Matt Eberflus hasn't won.
Hey, let's not talk about him yet. That's
Oh, you got that? Okay, I have that stat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Oh yeah,
that's coming up. Stay tuned.
Let's not go there.
Anyway,
yet. That'll be
another
thing.
Team's really good. We were talking about the Lions being like the cream of the crop here, and I think the Ravens are right there, arguably the best team in the AFC. I mean, the Chiefs are right there. They play tonight as we're recording, but just a throttling of a defense that I don't know. I thought was pretty good in Denver, 41-10. Just Lamar cementing a third MVP. Zay Flowers is just showing just an open space, just overall how dynamic of an option he is. And this is a team that just acquired Deontay Johnson as well, so that'll definitely help. And then it again helps when you have a middle linebacker in your backfield just plowing through everything. And just this team looks really good, and seems like they've fixed some issues on the line. I know their defense is not the legendary typical Ravens defense, but it's gotten better. I know the Broncos are kind of a very efficient team on offense, but this is a win's a win. And again, Lamar's just handedly on his way to another MVP. So not bad for someone who should be playing running back or wide receiver.
Just a huge bounce back for them to lose against the Browns was tough, and they don't lose that game, and they're looking at 7 wins in a row. So yeah, they're back in the mix from starting 0-2. Pittsburgh had a bye this week, so they're still 6-2 atop the division, but Baltimore 6-3, and then Ravens have 2 big division games coming up against the Bengals and then at the Steelers, so they can kind of take the bull by the horns and really take control of the division in the next 2 weeks if they continue to play the way they've been playing and miss the minor mental mistakes like losing to the Raiders and the Browns. They're gonna regret those. But if they can kind of keep going the way they're going now, they may be able to make up for it.
I think that plays into like how I think about the Lamar-led Ravens is they play down to the competition when they are better in a sense. And I'll even go back, and I know some people are going to be like, when they hear this, say, Brandon, what the hell are you talking about? They played down to the Chiefs. They were the better team last year. They played down to them. Yes, I know Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, but the Ravens were the better team statistically, and they played down. And I feel like in all those
They
games,
lost their identity in that game.
exactly. So it's crazy because I mean, we all know at this point in time that Lamar is damn near going to be an MVP candidate every year during the regular season, but we're not worried about the regular season anymore. We're worried about what you do in the playoffs because we want to see Lamar. I definitely will speak for myself. I want to see Lamar in the big game. I want to see what he can do in front of the bright lights and watching everybody watch him just be electric as we've seen. Because I know there's definitely people out there that really don't fully grasp how talented he is. To have two potential MVPs on your team right now with him and Derrick Henry is wild. And this is not even Sam talked about it. You got Zay Flowers back there are out there as well too lining up. You got Andrews out there lining up. You got Likely out there lining up. Like they have a solid team there. It's just can they put it all together? I'm not really worried about it, but this bounce back, they're going to put numbers up on anybody, and as they should, as they really really should.
Big game on Thursday against the Bengals, who Burrow just put up 5 touchdowns. Look like the Bengals, so that'll be a great Thursday night game to watch.
You know what would be great is if you and Harrison tag team this next two because you both have L's and they both go together. Sam, you have the Saints, and Harrison, you have former Saint Michael Thomas. So, gentlemen, the floor is yours.
I want to start with former Saint head coach Dennis Allen.
Okay.
He got the pink slip today after going 18-25 in 2+ seasons with New Orleans. Replaced Sean Payton there. He was on it. He was the defensive coordinator before that. He was the head coach of the Raiders at some point. It all blurs together now, but this team started off 2-0. The point differential was insane. I spent all preseason talking trash about the Saints and how they just didn't do anything, and this division's wide open. And they've lost 7 in a row, including by 1 to the Bryce Young led Panthers. That can't happen. It's Mickey Loomis is probably next. Their GM. It looks like their special teams coordinator is going to take over the reins here. But I don't know where I heard it. I think maybe it was NBC last night, but they were like, it was McCourty was like, blow it up. Like, I don't know what else to do there. If I'm, Cam Jordan or Marshawn Lattimore, you probably get some nice assets back for them and let them go play on winning teams. But it's a mess in New Orleans for sure.
Alvin Kamara will be a Cowboy.
He just signed an extension, so that's
Alvin Kamara will be a Cowboy. If they're selling tomorrow, or they will be, or today when they listen to this, he will be a Cowboy. If Jerry does the right thing, which he probably won't because he's Jerry.
I think that makes a lot of sense, but I think the Cowboys might be sellers as well.
What are they, 3-5 now? Dak's gone for who knows how long. CeeDee Lamb, I saw AC joint. I don't know how long that means, but look, I know they're the Cowboys, and you want to talk about everyone wants to talk about the Cowboys, or everyone thinks everyone wants to talk about the Cowboys. But
yeah, there we go.
When's the next time I don't have their schedule in front of me. I know they play the Eagles next week.
Yep.
When's the next time the Cowboys are a favorite to win a game with Cooper Rush? Like, is it worth? Are the Cowboys?
Yeah, that's what I think. I think they're sellers at the point. I think not that Jerry is smart enough to write the whole year off, but it seems like he did in the offseason. And looking back on it, he might. It's just might be a lost year for them. But like Sam said, like they got Eagles, Texans, Commanders, all 3 next, and they're considering placing Dak on the IR. So it would make sense for them to get Kamara. If they were in a different position, it would make sense for them to get Kamara.
I still think that if they pack it in I still try to make that trade for next year. You know what I mean? Like, just because depending on how what the Saints do, you don't want them going into another season with Alvin Kamara and then have him try to trade for him now and just, hey, we're not going to win even with you here, but hey, we got you for next year. But they're the Cowboys, so they won't do that.
We'll see by tomorrow.
But you can talk about Alvin Kamara's former teammate,
Michael Thomas.
Yeah, that guy.
Not that what he said about Derek Carr is wrong. Like, I don't think Derek Carr is a great quarterback, but to crash out on Twitter, it just seems so bitter. The way he kind of framed all his tweets and going after Derek Carr, and I just, he gets my L for the week just for being, a bitter. Is he retired even, or is he still?
No, he's wanted to be on a team. He just wants to be on a team.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to help.
This is a really good way to get yourself on a team, guys.
It's not
a problem.
I don't know if that's going to help. So, yeah, it's a quick L for him. Very, very weird. Derek Carr was asked about it after. He said, Derek Carr said, I've had a lot of teammates, and he's just one that
doesn't like me. Yeah,
that doesn't like me. So, yeah, L for Michael Thomas, L for Derek Carr, L for the Saints. Tough. And, I lived in New Orleans for a little while, and, I know how much the Saints mean to that city. And, everything truly stops on Sundays for the Saints, it was weird to see coming from the Northeast and going down south and seeing like literally everything shut down just to go watch the Saints. But yeah, it's a city that cares a lot about their team, and for them to, lose 7 straight after the start they had is really depressing for that city. And with no real end in sight, I mean, they're going to have to blow it up. They're going to have to trade these guys. I'm sure the Lions will be in the mix for some of their pass rushers. But yeah, tough times in New Orleans.
Do you think Dennis Allen is going to send Carr a Christmas gift? Because this is now at 2 places that he's been with Derek Carr as his quarterback, and he's lost his job at both of those places. So do you think he's going to send him like a Christmas gift? Just asking.
Yeah, he's probably not on the list.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
I don't know if we'll see him crashing out on Twitter, but yeah, he's probably saying some mean things.
I mean, he's still getting paid, and he doesn't have to manage that team. So
true.
Yeah, that's true. So we should have put him in the dubs this week.
There you go. Still getting paid.
Well,
maybe he'll find a DC job somewhere next year.
We'll
see what it is.
Speaking of a coach that's still getting paid, and I wish he wasn't, that'd be Nick Sirianni, who is the head coach of the Eagles. And I know people are going to sit here and say, are you really complaining after you just said the Eagles just went 4-0, they're on this streak and so on? Yes, the hell I am going to complain. Because he left 9 points out there where he could have taken it. Nick, I don't know if somebody around you listens to this, or we can get this to you somehow, some way. But Nick, I need you to understand that when you go for a 2-point conversion once and it doesn't work, okay, that's fine. When you go for it a second time, when you probably should just put points on the board, you should, and you really see that it's not working, you should probably move on. But when you try to go for it for a third time and say, you know what do we got to lose here? Let's just try to do it again. And you fail all 3 times. You need to rework this. When you have an opportunity to kick a field goal, instead you go for it on 4th and you have Jalen Hurts do a bootleg to nobody when they're down in the red zone. It makes no sense. The field is compressed. It doesn't work that way. I understand that you want to be, and this is who you have been, is a guy that takes risks and tries to will the team over. But sometimes you just need to take the points, because you allowed a Jaguar team to get back into a game that shouldn't even have been the game. Even if they got back, even though the refs called it a fumble after Saquon got tripped by a defender, what you should be doing is just continuously putting points on the board. The game should have been 34-23 is what the outcome should have been, but you left a ton of points on the board, and that's what scares the shit out of me, because you continuously are doing this during the regular season. And yes, it's still early, but this seems to be something that you consistently do. And as we get closer and closer and closer to time, the things evening out, your schedule's getting a little tougher. You're facing harder opponents. You got the Commanders coming up. You got the Ravens coming up. Like this, you got the Commanders coming up twice at that. You're not going to just be facing some pushovers moving forward. So also Steelers as well too. I'm going to need you to go talk to yourself in the mirror and realize that you need to put points on the board and stop taking it off, because this is how you lose your team. And I kind of want that to happen so they stop talking nice about you in the public and stop winning in spite of you. But you, sir, you suck when it comes to taking points off the board. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
For you listing, obviously earlier your dubs of the week with the numbers that Jalen is putting up and the numbers that Saquon had yesterday, for that to be a ball game with 2 minutes left is absurd. Like that thankfully you have Trevor Lawrence on the other side who can't throw a pass, more than 20 yards. But yeah, thankfully that happened, because to lose that game after the numbers that your offense has put up would be, you can't come back from that. Like it's just so. No. I wouldn't even say it's taking risks. I think it's a lot of to do now with this like analytical book that these coaches refer to, where it's like, this is the smart place to go for 2. Like these are the numbers that say we should go for 2 here. And just the reliance on those numbers and not just the feel of the game and seeing, the outcomes in front of you is absurd nowadays. And a lot of coaches are depending on it. And he's one of them, and it's not good. And I do not understand. I get being aggressive. I get going for 2 in certain instances. But the analytics are telling these coaches to go for 2 so often. And I feel like the numbers have to swing the other way because it's not been successful.
Yeah. I mean, this is what cursed Brandon Staley in LA for so long. And even the Lions, I know we were just praising them for taking this identity, and Dan Campbell's not afraid to be aggressive. But there were moments where it just didn't work. It's one of these things where if it works, it looks great and you're a hero. And if it doesn't, we sit here on Monday morning saying, what the hell's going on? But, also, is your team, do you have the right formation packages, whatever? Can your team execute? Whatever the data says, that's great. But like, how does that apply to your personnel? That's something that needs to also be part of that conversation as well.
100%.
Yeah. I got nothing else. Sam, you are, you got the Raiders here.
Yeah. So they hired their head coach, or made their interim head coach last year, Antonio Pierce, their official full-time head coach. That's great. And, they had a really bad loss yesterday. They go ahead and fire pretty much everyone on the offense. But like, it kind of just goes back to like, what were the expectations in Las Vegas here? Yeah. You have a rookie, essentially head coach. Mm-hmm. You don't really do anything on the offense to help the team. Brock Bowers is a stud, going to be a great player. If he was on the Jets, I would have loved it. We passed up on him. I think he's going to be special. He's showing it. The George Kittle comps are living it up right now. Like that makes sense. But like, what are you doing here to help your team? You fire everyone on your offensive staff. You trade Devontae Adams like 2 weeks ago. You're arguably one of the, top 15 wideouts in the league, top 10 talent from a talent perspective. Like, what are we doing here? And like, who's going to quarterback this team? Like, there's a lot bigger problems here in year one of a new like regime, if you will. Like, it's a mess in Vegas. I don't know what they were expecting. Obviously, we're not in the club, in the locker room. We don't know what's going on, but it's a mess, not something to be desired for sure.
No, that's well put. It's like the expectations of what you're building, and to kind of blow it up halfway through. Yeah, they're not playing well, but you have Gardner Minshew as your quarterback. Like, what
do you think was going to come from that?
Yeah, I'm with Sam. I just don't know what they're doing.
Aiden O'Connell, I know he like broke his finger or whatever, but like, okay, great. Like, and I know like they wanted Penix and he went early to the Falcons, and okay, still great. Like, what are we doing here? So it just doesn't make much sense here.
I don't need to say anything. You both said more than enough. Harrison. I don't. How do you say his name? Malachi?
Malachi Corley.
Yeah,
So
Corley.
he gets. We texted. It seems like a lifetime ago. It always does when we talk about Thursday games because of everything that happens in between. But yeah, to catch your first potential touchdown pass, to get close to the end zone and then drop the ball before you get into the end zone is just my biggest pet peeve. It's up there. It's really up there. And you know, kids make mistakes, and the Jets went on to win, and kudos to the Jets for beating the Texans, who are a good football team, and getting that win. But that was early in the game, and that really, really could have set the tone for the rest of the game. And I just hate it. And I had to bring it up, and I had to give my L. I'm like I said last week, it's tough to give L's to all these really bad teams we don't have expectations for. So he gets it this week for really grinding my gears and dropping the ball before running into the end zone. And we see it so much. Like, I don't understand. Just hold on to the ball. And Aaron Rodgers said something, kind of funny, I guess. It's your first touchdown. What are you doing with the ball? Like, don't you want that ball? Like, keep it.
Yeah.
Keep it. Why are you dropping that? So, just frustrating.
When Harrison was actually an Eagles fan, I know I make the joke about it, but when Harrison actually was an Eagles fan, he got to see one. Wow, he got to see one of the most notorious ones, which was in Deshaun Jackson, who decided to just flick it.
Yep.
Harrison, it's also one of my biggest pet peeves. Celebrating. Were the Jets down at that time in the game?
It was 0-0.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but
it was early. It was really early.
I'll save that part for another time. But my biggest thing is it just reached the ball over the plane. You got a touchdown. Then you can do whatever you want to do with the ball after that point in time. But just reach it over the plane, and then you don't have to worry about your body going over. The ball is over the plane. You got a touchdown. It's that simple. I never. Well, I'll touch base on what I was going to say. I don't understand some of these players like celebration, especially when your team is down. Like that's one of my biggest pet peeves, Harrison, is when I watch teams, players like get super excited and celebrate, dance, and do all this, put the seatbelt on when you basically held the guy and do all this stuff. Like it's hilarious to me. But that one is probably one of the worst. Because you literally have the touchdown and then you just give it away, and then it's a touchback or it's a fumble or whatever the case may be because you threw it behind you. Like, it's just dumb. Just reach over and then do whatever you want to do after that. It's really that simple.
It was the most Jets thing ever. The most Jets thing ever would have been if we lost the game, and we lost it by that score. Yeah. Fortunately, we were able to regroup. But I get it. Like, third round pick, you took a handoff from Aaron Rodgers, you scored your first touchdown, like prime time. Like that's great.
Yeah.
But like, without being an old man, I want to be like, kind of like, just cross, like, act like you've been there before. Like, cross the plane, do whatever the hell you want after.
Yep.
That's great.
That's it.
But like, and I'm sure he won't make that mistake again. And fortunately, it didn't cost the Jets the game there. But and I know they really like this kid, and from everything I saw when he was in college, like, there were a lot of Debo comparisons, and I see it. He's a yak machine, but Debo doesn't do it. Debo holds on to the damn ball. So like, fortunately they won, and this is kind of an afterthought and something you can laugh about. But if not, it would be messy.
Yeah, my beef isn't directly with him. It's just with how often this happens. It's just crazy to me. To me.
Stop. What's crazy to me is the head coach of the Bears.
The Bears.
I have this for Sam. There's a record. I'm looking at head coach records, okay? And I'm going to you first, Sam, for a reason. There's head coach records, and one head coach record from 2018 to 2021. Their record was 34-31. Do you know who the head coach was?
I'm sorry, repeat the first part of that.
The head coach.
Yeah.
This is the head coach of the Bears.
Oh, Matt Nagy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Our buddy on the podcast.
Matt Eberflus, his record from 2022 to 2024 currently is 14-28. And it's only going to get worse because we don't know how healthy Caleb is. We don't know what's going on. And if they look what they look like right now, I'm sure that it's going to continue to get worse. And he's not going to be able to make it out to get even close to Matt Nagy. So, number one, Bears fans, I'm sorry. I feel for you. Can't be good to watch this and endure this.
I thought you were going to go with the other stat, so this one is even funnier.
It's
0-18.
Yep.
On the road.
Yep.
On Sundays.
Yep.
Most of the games are played on Sundays.
Yes.
0-18. Like, that's remarkable.
Half of your games are on the road too. Almost half. Well, it depends.
Almost half. Yeah. That is remarkably bad.
It's hard to do.
It's hard to do.
I would say that we have a bonus dub from the whole podcast, and it's for Justin Fields. Justin, we know it wasn't you. we see it wasn't you. It's I just can't fathom watching something like this and being a fan of something like this and knowing that your team has with Ryan Poles has gone out and got these key pieces, but you guys still don't address the main piece that we talked about before the season even started, which is the O-line. You still can't protect your quarterback, it's been terrible for years now. This O-line, Justin Fields had to endure this O-line. Now Caleb does, and it doesn't help with the coaching because it's about coaching. This O-line shouldn't be like this. Yes, it's also personnel as well, but it's also coaching. The reason why I say that, and call me a homer, whoever's listening, but I look at Jeff Stoutland, who is considered to be like the guru of O-lines. Sam, when Mekhi Becton was with the Jets, he didn't do a damn thing, did he?
Oh, he needed to be on the field to do something. So
okay, there you go.
Yes.
He's been healthy on the Eagles line, and he's absolutely been flourishing because he actually has a coach.
They kicked him inside, right?
They put him inside. They adjusted and moved him. It's knowing and coaching. It definitely is a key part of this. And Matt Eberflus is not a good coach, and they've had now back-to-back from 2018 to 2024 terrible coaches. Oh, from 2015 to 2024 because John Fox was 14-34.
Jimmy Clausen era.
Oh, actually, let's go back even further. From 2013 to 2024, because Mark Trestman was 13-19. So
I didn't know you were such a Bears aficionado.
I'm not. I'm just looking at stats. Thank you,
Look. We killed the first 100 episodes of this podcast. We killed Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy for just kind of mismanaging this whole thing. You take a trade like what Carolina wanted to give you every day of the week here. They did draft a guard or a tackle with that pick, but still, you can have all the talent on your roster. They got to come together and play. I mean, look at the Jets. I mean, we like all of these pieces individually. Together, hopefully we've turned it around, but it's a mess. So there's something to that. There's something to culture. There's something to that. Mekhi Becton, his weight was always an issue. His focus was always an issue, and it doesn't seem to be an issue anymore.
Nope.
He's surrounded by Pro Bowlers and just future Hall of Famers and just really talented people, and that probably means something.
I will say this for the Bears. I mean, they're close to being good. And the good thing about this is you're seeing the reason is clear why they're not.
Yes.
And this is your L of the week. So it's like, you kind of get through this season or get as far as you can. Your expectations shouldn't have been this high this year. Like they were going to progress. I think, with Caleb under center and then you got some good pieces on the outside, they're going to progress. So now it's just up to them to take that next step next year. Get a competent coach, get your scheme right on the offensive line, draft some talent on the offensive line. And then, I think there'll be, someone to reckon with next year. So the expectations
we got ahead of ourselves with loving the Bears, but at the same time, the Commanders, who we didn't think had as talented as of a roster, even though we all like Jaden. Look what they're doing.
Yep.
CJ Stroud, Bryce Young last year, like,
and I said that when we talked about it, I said, do not be surprised if that happens again, and it's happening again.
I see. I don't think it's a Caleb. I don't think Caleb is as deficient as Bryce Young has proven to be. But clearly
he's not.
A rookie does not step into that situation very often the way Caleb has, and it just hasn't. We want to annoy him, and he's not there yet.
Especially with no O line, like the O line is really bad. So like address that in the off season. Get the coach that you. Yeah, it's tough to get a good coach, but if they can, they are close. They are very close. So,
shout out to Lovie Smith for actually being the last real winning coach of that team. 81-63 was his record. So.
Took him to Super Bowl, right? Was that?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and they fired that guy for some reason. Special L this week goes to James Franklin, the head coach of the Nittany Lions, Penn State. James Franklin is 3-17 versus top 10 teams.
Not going to get it done.
No, since he's been with the Nittany Lions. He is 1-16 against top 10 teams. He's only beat Ohio State once, and that was in 20. I don't remember.
Once. It matter.
It was once.
Not so Happy Valley, you're saying, huh?
No. I had somebody reach out to me and ask me what I thought as he was placing a bet on Penn State. And he asked me, do you think Penn State's going to win? And I said, no, I don't. Save your money because James Franklin cannot lead this team to the promised land. And this individual ended up saying that he was going to still put money on Penn State. And when the game was over, I said, so I told you, right, that he can't win the big games. He literally, just like Nick Sirianni, has coached his team out of positions, and he did in that game on numerous occasions. It doesn't help that also wide receivers were dropping the ball, but James Franklin, I think you seem to be like a great guy. I'm not one to really call for people's jobs, but if you would like to just step down and go somewhere else, I would greatly appreciate it because I would like to see my team get somebody different. Even though I know you bring great recruiting classes, I don't need to see you there anymore as a head coach because you can't win the big game. Also, they added Oregon to that division. So, probably never going to see Penn State win anything anyway. So, good job.
Nothing to add on Mr. Franklin.
Okay. Well, I have a lot bad for him. Power rankings. This one will be pretty quick and easy. It pretty much all stays the same. Chiefs 1. Lions 2, Ravens 3. The only difference here is last week I had the Eagles Commanders at 4, tied at 4. I'm putting the Commanders above the Eagles because of Nick Sirianni and how they just played against the Jags when it should have been a blowout game, and you should have played up to that, even though they are really, really good. That's where I have it. I would have had the Texans there, but they fell out. But this is the only change that's really happened, so not really much, as we've talked about, gentlemen, that this list would start to even out, and it has pretty much at this point in time, in my opinion. So that's where I'm at with the power rankings. Any thoughts?
Still no love for the Bills?
No, not yet.
Okay, fair enough.
I still think I know Josh Allen is going to will this team, and I think they're winning in very nasty ways, but a win is a win. I don't know how I feel about that team yet in like really big games. And I want to see them in a really big game to be like, okay, the Bills got it. That's just my only reason why they haven't. But they're sure. They're sixth for me, honestly. They're sixth. So they're right there.
Josh Allen, just 2 picks on the year. Shout out Josh Allen.
Yes. Well, I was going to take a shot at Stephon Diggs, but I just realized again that he's out. So I'm glad I didn't do that. But you can take a shot at the powerless rankings, Harrison.
I just have had a lot to choose from this year.
You have.
we have a change at the bottom. Very
Whoa.
exciting stuff. Yeah. So 28 the Browns, 29 the Raiders, 30 the Jaguars, and swapping or cracking in there, the Panthers are no longer the worst team.
That's
We're going with the
surprise.
Saints. We're going with the Saints this week. I had to because the Panthers beat the Saints. I didn't want to. The Panthers are still at a minus 146 point differential, which we're on pace for the mythical number of 287, I believe, by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Love that.
But yeah, we've got the Saints at the bottom this week. That could change back quickly. 9 teams in the league with 2 wins. So we have a lot of inept teams all across the board, and tons that can crack this powerless ranking. And then 18 teams in the league are at 500 or below. So parity runs supreme in the NFL.
That is very interesting. That sucks to suck, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. What doesn't suck is my record, because I've been climbing back. I went 10-3 last week. Sam 9-4, Harrison 9-4, and as I said, I'm climbing back here. My overall is 86-47. I'll pat myself on the back there. Sam is 90-43, still leading the way here, and
Kudos,
Harrison is a 79-54, which Harrison could be and have a way better record, but he wants to continuously be the oddball. So we'll see if that streak continues with his picks right now.
I also want to add that we forgot to mention last night's Sunday night game when we were doing our picks. So
that's on me.
Pick that game, yeah. So
that's on me.
Rookie mistake here.
Very rookie mistake. Did the whatever the rundown. That's on me.
Been there, man.
Do better. Week 10 picks. First, teams that are on the bye. Browns. Fans are probably saying thank God. Packers, Raiders. They're probably also saying thank God. And Seahawks. Thursday night game. Bengals at Ravens. We all have a sweep. Ravens. In Germany. Sprechen never mind. Giants versus the Panthers. The Panthers. Harrison.
I have to play catch up. I can't pick the same teams you guys are picking. I'm down. I got to pick something.
So by that response, you could tell that Harrison picked the Panthers. I really wish this game just wasn't the Germany game because we are.
I wish this game wasn't the game.
Yeah.
I wish this game wasn't a game.
That's fair. I think it's pretty terrible. Sam and I have the Giants. Harrison has the Panthers. I just wish, to Harrison's point, I wish this just wasn't a game. Patriots at Bears. We all have the Bears. Bills at Colts. Bills, all of us. Broncos at Chiefs. Falcons at Saints. We all have Falcons. Niners at Bucks. Sam and I both have the Niners. Harrison has the Bucks.
Again, I got to pick some different from you guys. That's all. That's all.
This is either going to work or it's not.
Yes.
He's gonna fail miserably here. Steelers at Commanders. I'm the only one that chose the Steelers. You both have the Commanders. Reason why I chose the Steelers is because Jaden Daniels is going against the best defensive player in the league, and I feel that it's going to have a little disruption there, and he's going to see some pass rush that he's essentially never seen yet. So I'm curious to see how he handles that. But I mean, I feel this could be anybody's game, honestly.
Yeah, as unexcited as I am to watch the Giants and Panthers, I'm the opposite for this one. I think this is going to be a great game.
Same. I know I'm not going to be excited to watch this game because it probably won't be on my TV. And if it does, I'll never put the volume to it. But Vikings at Jags, we all have Vikings. Titans at Chargers for all of us. Eagles at Cowboys, we all have Eagles. This one is interesting. Yep, I did pick the Cards this time. Jets at Cards. I picked the Cards, so did Harrison, and Sam picked the Jets, which why would he not? That's his team. I picked the Cards because they are hot right now. The Jets have one game that they looked pretty good. I'm curious to see if they're going to be able to string it together. And everything so far this season has told me that they're not, but I think they have the opportunity to do so, and the Cards have been really, really good recently. So that's the only reason. That's the only time you're going to get that pick from me. So
I don't have a ton of conviction. I mean, the second half of Thursday night, they played really well as a Jets fan, but the whole Cardinals thing. I have to pick my team here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
That's
hey,
fair.
I understand it. Trust me.
Excited for this one as well. When the Jets are playing, like they just have so many weapons, and when they're playing well, they're good. So scary.
Yeah, I agree.
Go Plains.
Lions at Texans. We
This
all
will be
have
fun.
the Lions here. That should be a good game. I'm definitely going to have some snacks ready for that one. And then Dolphins at Rams. We all have the Rams. Now it's time to get sad for us. For the listeners in LA, happy time for you. But the team that I would have been a fan of if they stayed in New York and stayed in Brooklyn, the Dodgers beat the Yankees.
Say that with so much certainty.
I 100% would have been a Dodgers fan
I believe
if they
it.
stayed in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dodgers beat the Yankees in the series 4-1. But as Sam put so eloquently here, the Yankees beat the Yankees because they did. So let's have a chat, gentlemen. We know what happened in Game 1, which Big Brain Boone decides to bring Nestor Cortez in, who has not pitched in a month, and you have Hill sitting there, who has been on fire, is also a lefty, pitching to a lefty in Freddie Freeman, and Nestor Cortez pitched 2 pitches. One popped up Shohei Ohtani, and then the next was a grand slam for the Dodgers to win. Game 2.
Mookie got on base, and then it was a grand slam, but yes.
Yes.
Right.
Game
I like
2,
the matchups, but I throw him meatballs down the center of the plate. So
pretty much. A BP fastball right down the middle. The Yankees lost that game and gave that one up. And I feel from the jump, speaking with friend of the show, Brendan, we talked about it, and we felt that right out the gate, that changed the series from the jump. Would you gentlemen agree with that?
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
Okay. The Yankees go on to lose the next 2. But let me ask you guys this, because I mentioned his name already. Freddie Freeman, the guy that is the hottest guy on their team, the best player, or considered to be the best player in the world, Shohei Ohtani, is not doing a damn thing. But you continuously pitch to Freddie Freeman. Would you gentlemen pitch to Freddie Freeman when you know he's the guy that is the hottest guy in the team, or would you pitch around him? Serious question.
I wouldn't be lobbing fastballs from a guy who hasn't pitched in 40 days with literally the biggest moment of his career, and arguably Freddie Freeman's, who's walking into Cooperstown backwards and doing one of those Saquon somersault things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, look, one of these things where if it worked out, it worked out. But it's just so weird because especially Boone has done this, and I've watched more Yankee playoff games and other teams' playoff games throughout his tenure, but like they're so quick to give the starter the hook and like to go into the bullpen. And here you are. And I know you don't want to like show all of your pitchers, especially if they're going to pitch a lot. I feel like the same pitchers for both teams pitch every game, right? Out of the bullpen. But like there's no bigger moment in this World Series than the bases loaded for Freddie Freeman. And you throw, like, again, and Harrison and I talked about it last week. We're not in the clubhouse. Nestor seems to be liked by everybody. Boone's got confidence in him, but like, what are we doing? Like it was a mess. Yeah. I wouldn't throw him out there, but who knows what Tim Hill would have done. But to your point, Hayes, he was pitching really well.
Yes. Harrison said something that pertained when we were talking about football earlier that I also think spreads through all sports, but definitely baseball, which is the analytic book. This is the World Series. You have one of the best pitchers in the world, a guy that just won a Cy Young last year, if I remember correctly, and Garrett Cole. He's a gamer. This is the team that he grew up loving. He is out here dealing, and you say, you know what? I'm going to give you the hook. You got in a little trouble, but I'm going to give you the hook. No, this is not the time to be doing that. You put your best pitchers out there. You let them do what they have to do. If he starts to get in some serious trouble, yes, get some guys up in the bullpen. If you feel this way and you're like, hey, I'm going to pull him at any time, or if I start seeing it get rough, I'm going to my bullpen because my bullpen's been really good. Get the bullpen warmed up. Get your arm warmed up for the situation. Do what you got to do. But again, that's why I call him Big Brain Boone. Is that he tends to overthink things in situations when he doesn't need to. He can simplify it. And for me, it drove me nuts watching some of the moves that have happened in this series. I just don't. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And then in game, okay, so game 4, you have huge grand slam by Volpe. The Bronx is alive. Like,
yes.
Okay, we win that game. You're feeling really good with a 5-0 lead. And there, I know the three of us were thinking it and saying it like, yo, we're gonna win this game and go back to LA, and like, there's a shot. Like, we, the odds are good. It's never happened before.
Yep.
But like, we're gonna win this game, and it's going to happen. And it just kind of shows where like you need to get 27 outs, and and the exact opposite happened to Garrett Cole when he wasn't pulled, and I don't think he should have. He had to get that extra out from Judge
dropping the ball.
That Volpe throw was not a good throw.
It was not.
I don't know. He wouldn't have gotten him anyway, but still, it's an error. And then I don't even like. Everyone wants to crush Garrett Cole. Like, Garrett Cole kept us in that game. Like, I know. Look, he had to get essentially 3 extra outs because he didn't run that ball to first base. But he went on to pitch 2 more innings. Everyone knew even if it went to game 7, he was not pitching again. He left it all out on the field.
Yep.
And maybe Rizzo could have, I don't know. I've never played first base, but
hard.
Yeah. And Anthony Rizzo is really good at it, but maybe he just looked at the ball and then assumed Cole would be there because he should have been, but the dude was gassed. He already had to get 2 more outs than he needed to. Maybe Rizzo could have hustled a little bit more to the bag too. That said, he went on to pitch 2 more innings and keep us in that game.
Yes.
Instead of going to the bullpen early, and who knows, that game would have been over, might have been over earlier. But yeah, it's just it's a shame. But the Yankees beat themselves. They did. It just kind of shows you need to get. It's a really good teaching moment to to fans of baseball. You need to get 27 outs. And you need to excel at all parts of the game. And the fundamentals have been a joke all year for this team. And even the Dodgers are making fun of the Yankees now for it. And it's deserved.
I thought game 1 was pretty unforgivable. And we talked about it last week. And that felt like 2 losses and completely devastating to game 2. And you just felt it carry over even, for the players, really, and they just looked lifeless in game 2, and then before you know it, you can't catch up. But game 5 was the perfect microcosm of the whole season. Yep. I mean, we look incredible through the first 5 innings, and kind of how we looked coming out of the gates to start the year, and then the fundamentals the chickens come home to roost, bad defensive plays. But they've been doing that all year, and they've been sloppy all year, and they've won in spite of that. And yes, the path was easier and all of that stuff. But when, the lights shine the brightest, those fundamentals creep out, and you're making bad throws and bad plays on the bases. And yeah, it was just kind of funny how everything in that one game looked so much like the entire
whole
year.
Season. Yes.
The whole season. So yeah, unfortunately, we're sticking with Boone. I'm not a big Boone fan.
Same.
Never have been.
Same.
And I don't know if we can get over the hump with him in charge.
I don't. We'll see. I'll say I don't believe it. I don't believe we will. But it's not. Again, Boone wasn't out there playing.
No.
So we talk about. We've obviously all had this open conversation, right? And yes, there's a lot of moves that he made that we were just scratching our head like, what the hell are you doing throughout the whole entire season, right? But he wasn't the best hitter in baseball, slumping uh, and not being able to hit the ball and striking out and swinging out his zone. He wasn't that person. He wasn't a right fielder that was jogging to get to the ball that that is going to get paid $500 million. He wasn't. It wasn't him. He wasn't the first baseman that had 2 broken fingers that is going out there and he's basically on a lifeline. Got life alert on him, and we're asking him to go and be a Gold Glove winner. He wasn't the potential Gold Glove winner at shortstop, committing errors and not really hitting outside of the one grand slam. Right? He's not the. Go ahead.
And he's not the third base coach that sent the worst runner in baseball.
Yes.
When literally Teoscar Hernandez was on the if he would have fell and put his arms out, he would have hit the infield dirt.
Yes.
Like, you need to know, and he used to be the coach of the Mets. Like, whatever his name is, like that, like the whole just organization. And I know, like, we commend them, the Yankees that came to work spring training early. They all got there. They all started working, but like this whole like coaching staff just needs to be just swapped out like that. Like, you can't send Giancarlo Stanton.
No,
you can't send him.
No,
at all under any circumstances.
No.
And that's not on him. Trust me, like, everyone knows that he can't run. So he's relying on the third base coach to give him that signal to go. There's no way he decided I'm going to make this, No,
he was clearly waving him in, but it's just, correct, Hayes. He's not the one out there making those plays, but it starts from the top.
Of
and
course.
The sloppiness,
of course,
and the inability to play clean baseball and just let your offense be your offense. So you have a strong offense, but to have everything else, defensive plays, the lack of focus, all that stuff comes from the top. And it's just not good enough. And I don't know when it will be good enough, because it was a down year. Like, no team won 100 games, and it's not going to be this way going forward. And we have to make changes in order to get over the hill, get over the hump.
Well, one change that they made, or I guess not change they made, they did bring back Garrett Cole. That was one of the breaking news flashes that popped up on my screen while we were talking at the top of this. But Garrett Cole is coming back. Rizzo declined. Option was declined, which we have not had a all-star first baseman. Rizzo wasn't an all-star with the Yankees, correct?
I don't think with the Yankees.
Okay.
No.
We haven't had an all-star first baseman since Teixeira.
That sounds right. Wasn't too long ago, though.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago. They definitely need to fill that. I don't know what they do with Glaber now. Glaber, as much as I absolutely defecated on Glaber during the regular season, he did show up in the postseason on several occasions. The series before, not so much in the World Series, but the series leading up to, he absolutely did his thing. So I can't be too mad at him at that point in time. Volpe is like a conundrum for me. Is because I love the kid, I love his passion, I love his story, I love that he's able to flash the leather, but I still believe it's because he's young. He has a lot of bonehead plays that he has, and he's regressed on his hitting. And that is the major part, to be out there. Like, yes, we absolutely want you out there because we know defensively you're going to keep us in the games, but offensively you offer absolutely nothing.
He played well this postseason, but yeah, he's been so inconsistent at the plate. And I that was part of his prospect profile too. Like, he was never going to hit more than 260, and the average did creep up, and he was playing better for sure. And the postseason, but yeah, there's a lot of problems on this team, and Juan Soto needs to come back, but there's also voids everywhere, man. Like, it's going to take a lot of money.
Yep.
And a lot of there's Cashman and whoever else has a lot of work on their hands here, because it's not going to be easy, to your point.
Yep.
Luckily, they have a lot of money, so they should be able to throw that out there. College basketball. starts today.
It does.
Harrison, do you want to talk about that since you're in this world?
Well, I put it on there, and then I was going to kind of pick some games, but literally every team is playing. Like, if you go down like the list, almost every team in college basketball is playing today. So just want to give a shout out to college basketball coming back. Happy it's back and ready for kind of a good year.
I'm ready for a good year too. Is our team winning right now?
Down 36-28 to Harvard.
Okay.
We're talking Marist Red Foxes.
Okay. All right.
Harvard's a good team, though. Good Ivy League team. So this would be a good win, but we'll see.
Speaking of big brain power, you also have some records up here.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on some kind of NBA just quickly, some surprises. So Milwaukee Bucks and 76ers, both the combined 2-9. So that's tough. The Bucks have some issues defensively. They cannot stop any guard at all, point blank period. They're missing Chris Middleton, but Chris Middleton's 32 years old, and who knows what he looks like when he comes back. So
yeah.
And then there's a lot of rumblings with Giannis, and is he? Would he ask out? Would he look for a trade later on? Because this team has an identity crisis right now, similar to a lot of NFL teams. But it's early, so we'll see where that goes. But 1-5 is a really bad start. And then the Cavs, 7-0, still just completely rolling. Look to have completely, turning that page on Donovan Mitchell and kind of him removing himself from those trade conversations or where he was going to sign and committing to the Cavs has definitely opened up their culture and opened up the floor for them. So, good start for them. And then a couple teams are 3-3 that are interesting. The Nuggets and the Mavericks are both 3-3. So not great starts for them, but still plenty of time in the season.
JB is still the head coach of the Cavs, isn't he?
No.
That's right. He let him go, right?
They let him go.
It's Kenny Atkinson.
That's right, Kenny. My boy Kenny.
Kenny is a great coach.
Yeah, I know.
He's a great coach.
I know. Funny thing about that is, two future Hall of Famers said they didn't need no coach, and they got rid of that guy for whatever godforsaken reason.
They didn't change many pieces on the roster, but they did upgrade at coach, and they look very good right now.
Good. Doc Rivers was supposed to be the upgrade for the Bucks after they started off so hot last year. And Doc, I know Doc is a Hall of Famer, but it might be time for Doc to hang it up. Honestly, really.
The problem is not it's not the coaching. It's not being able to stop another team's guards.
I agree. I agree with that. But everywhere Doc has gone recently has not been able to win. And that's been the knock on him. That it's been Doc chokes, which I think is overblown to a certain extent. Because, again, as we said, you got to go out there and play.
I think it's kind of unprecedented. Last year, he took over a team halfway through and was not in the building previous. Like, I don't recall seeing that happen. So last year we were hoping he'd put it together. He didn't. They didn't. They both got, the stars got hurt. Kind of expected this too. As much as we love Dame, there's liabilities on the other end of the court, and
absolutely.
What you lost in Drew Holiday won the Celtics a ring. And and those liabilities now are coming back to roost here. So I kind of looked at it like, okay, well, you better figure it out now, Doc. Like, full off season, full training, all of that. Like, now, but yes, I think I'm willing to just take last year and say, yeah, that's a hard situation to be in. But it's not looking good, and it's still early, but it's it is very early.
Yep.
They need to figure it out on defense. They just need to, because if they don't, the whole complexity of the NBA changes if they have to move off Giannis. It just everything changes. Similar, like Sam just said, the Celtics won a ring because of Dame asking for a trade and then getting sent to the Bucks, and then the Bucks dropping Drew, and then Drew ending up on the Celtics. Like that ripple effects change all of this. So we're kind of going to continue to see those ripple effects if it turns into some Giannis move, which he is, one of the best players in the NBA. And if he ends up somewhere,
come to Brooklyn,
that would end that ripple. But
hey, listen, Cam Thomas has been doing his thing out there. They have one of the highest scoring backcourts right now, currently. Just saying, it's not going to last long, but it's still. Let me live, okay? You just worry about Joel not getting on the court, okay? You worry about that.
It's concerning.
It is. It's so concerning the NBA is investigating it. Gentlemen, another great pod. Sam, take us out of here because I'm hungry.
I wanted to share this today. We didn't really get to talk about the Giants. The Chiefs have won 2 Super Bowls since Daniel Jones threw touchdowns at MetLife Stadium. That's it. Episode 150 in the books for Harrison and Brandon. I'm Sam. Thanks so much for listening. And for those who've been with us from episode 1 or episode 149, we appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and it's why we do it. And most importantly, go out and vote.
If you've been with us since 149, you got a lot to catch up on.
Well, I'm just saying.
But yes, vote. Please go vote. Absolutely vote. See you guys on the other side of that. Love y'all. Thank y'all for listening. Harrison, thank you for coming and being a part of this. You weren't from like 100 of them. You were definitely like 50 of them or something around there. But appreciate you joining. You've definitely improved this, so I don't have to just stare at Sam, and Sam doesn't just have to stare at me. So thank you for that too. Phenomenal addition to this, and that's the most compliments you'll ever get from me. All right, everybody. See y'all later. Bye.
Go Birds.